the thing about praying, prayer, miracles, all of that, is in health and everything about life, just everything. About this idea of divine intimacy, is that I convey to you this board and do it well and thoroughly. And the reason why is because the mystical laws, the mansions, the nature of grace, all of it blends into such a perfect portrayal of what you, of the nature of God in you, that you understand that hopefully I can convey to you that the whole role of prayer is for you to come to know you with such awe that you get that you truly are a holy being. That's number one. And that managing your own holiness is a ferocious undertaking. A ferocious undertaking. And that is that two? That's number two. Number three, that in recognizing your holiness, your own sacredness, you can only see that in others. You cannot say, this is me, but not the other. For who other, where do you draw the line and say it's me, but not you? That even when you look at someone, and you may say, is everyone born good? Sometimes that goodness is hidden. Or sometimes that goodness has been, here's the thing that becomes more challenging even to understand. This is really, if I lose you here, that even the role of evil has a role. That even the role of evil has a role. And if you understand the symbology of mythology, go back to the Judeo scriptures in the book of Genesis. And in the mythology, the dark angels were sent down by contract. They were cast out by agreement, by divine agreement, to take charge of the lower realms, to become the polar opposite of the light. That's number one. Number two, as you come to understand the mystical laws, you position yourself to have an appreciation of the idea that creation is a function of psychic free radicals and grace. That every choice you make, every reaction you have, you're generating psychic free radicals all the time. Every negative reaction we have, every negative tiny little micro thought you have is sending out a negative spark in the air. Those negative sparks will find each other through your archetypal patterns. My particular type of victim, because all of us have victims, and I have a I have a type of victim, or I have a type of warrior archetype. Mine will find others, and our psychic free radicals will bond, and together they will form a tornado that will become shadow energy, and that shadow energy will create a shadow event on Earth. Because dark energy will create a dark event. It will feed, because what is true about energy is that energy must produce matter. These are laws, people. They're just laws. They're simply the laws governing creation. And shadow laws, and these laws apply to psychic free radicals just as they do in your body, so they do in the larger body. What is in one is in the whole. Learn to see this clearly. And the opposing force to psychic free radicals is grace, and grace comes through prayer. Are you with me here? So there comes a moment when you get this, and you get that the highest form of dealing with this is you making a serious commitment every day to say, I will be at my altar, in my private chambers praying, with as much devotion as you do something else that really means something to you. But this is your commitment to balance this global universe of ours. Because this is who you are, and because you know how the laws operate. And because you believe in these, because that's who you are. And because you're beginning to function at that level and fly at that level. And because you're beginning to understand that that is the power of prayer, and it's not about stuff. Can I have more stuff? Can I have more stuff? Can I have more stuff? Stop it. This is why you pray. This is why. God, help me get a grip on myself. I'm losing it. I'm just thinking about me all the time. Poor me. Get a grip on yourself. I thought I'd read some of Teresa's prayer. Got it? So tomorrow, we're going to make our weave and put it all together. I need to put the whole thing together. Wait a minute. Good thing I know David's password. Look at that. It's just an accident. I have some of Teresa's prayers here because they're so beautiful. And just to show you a different feel of the Sufi prayer that we were going, and then this one. One of her, these are Teresa prayers, Teresa saying, Teresa. To have courage for whatever comes in life, everything lies in that. One of her practices, one of Teresa's practices, was that she would take a line, a word, a prayer, a phrase, and repeat it all day and focus on it all day as a kind of a mantra, as a kind of a focus point, a place to dwell, as a prism to look through all day. Accustom yourself continually to many acts of love, for they enkindle and melt the soul. Accustom, say it to yourself, accustom myself to many acts of love, for they melt my soul. They melt my soul. So you sit quietly, does my soul need melting? Everybody's soul needs melting. It's a prayer. My soul needs melting. It does. My soul needs a lot of melting. Because if I was assigned to love people I could not love, and then you ask yourself, no wonder I'm in this situation. Because I'm with people I can't love. Well, there you go. Well, there you go. No wonder I'm stuck here. You've put me with people I can't love. So you say to yourself, accustom myself to acts of love because my soul needs melting. My soul needs melting. They don't need to change. My soul needs melting. This is why you pray. Oh God, this is going to hurt my soul. Should I tell them my soul needs melting? I'm going to do them a favor, and I'm praying so my soul needs melting because they're so horrible. Then I'm going to figure out a way to love them and do them a favor. Should I start there? No, I don't think so. I don't think that's wise. It's tempting, but not wise. Let's try this again. Okay, should we try it again? Okay. Why do we pray? To be relieved of the burden of our own nonsense. I'm being nonsensical again. I'm having a brat attack. I'm doing it again. I'm having a brat attack. Listen to this. Listen to her. She said, there are more tears shed over answered prayers than unanswered prayers. She's magnificent. What did Teresa say? She said, God considers a challenge to be a compliment. What you consider a challenge, God considers a compliment. When you say, this is such a big thing, help me. Do you understand? When you say, this is so big, is it really? Oh, To which you say, but for you it is nothing. What was I thinking? What was I thinking? Proportion. Think of what, like as Teresa would say, remember to whom you are standing in front of when you pray. Remember who you're speaking to. What do you mean saying this is so big? Remember your position. What do you mean saying that? Your prayer should be, this is nothing for you. It's everything for me, but it's nothing for you. Remember yourself. Do you understand what she's saying? What are you talking about saying this is so big? Are you nuts? To something that created all this? She just had it right. Everything about her, she had everything right. Everything. She didn't have anything wrong. Nothing. Not one thing. Except she could have been born now so I could know her. Oh, here it is. You pay God a compliment by asking great things of Him. Oh, listen to this. Pain is never permanent. Okay, this is like that great teaching in the Tao. Do not get attached to a spectacle. Let it pass you by. Let it pass. To be able to say, this is a spectacle. Make me strong enough. I need to become strong enough to recognize this is a spectacle. And I'm not strong enough. John O'Donohue, you know the great John O'Donohue? I said to him once, I have to deal with someone who has stolen things from me. And he makes me crazy because I don't steal. And because I don't steal, I lived in the illusion that therefore I should never have to encounter a thief. That I was privileged. That I should be protected from all acts of theft because I do not steal. Mistake number one. Here's the illusion, Buddha, here's the illusion. Because I'm good, bad things should not happen to me. Oh, really? Okay, so I had this idea of I was self-righteous and, oh man, oh. And what's worse is, this could not have been more perfect. This guy was great big huge. He was like 6'6" or something, a big thug. And of course, I had it in mind that I could just intellectually outrun this guy, anything. Here's the problem with that strategy. What if the person doesn't care? I mean, right? What if the person doesn't give a damn? And they just kind of like, right? What if they don't care? I mean, you know, he was a Neanderthal. What did he care, right? Okay. So, so I said, you know, all my hard work for nothing. So He would have been more impressed if I had brought if I could have worked a knife. You know what I'm saying? So I said to John O'Donohue, I said, I got to deal with this guy, and every time I'm near him, I feel like look at this. I feel like my gut's coming out. I can't hold my center. Everything I know to be true goes away. I get filled with rage. I want to wring his neck. I want to just scream, I know you're a thief. I know you stole all this money. I know that boat that you bought is really all the money I gave you for my cabinets. I want to bang. And this guy gives me that George Bush smirk, you know, like this. I know you've got the IQ of a house plant. and you know, and just this kind of thing. And you could care less, and there's nothing I could do because I could take you to civil court, but who cares? Because if the judge says you're awarded one boat, take the boat and go home. I want a boat as much as I want to put a stick through my eye and have 6 root canals. I mean, keep your boat, I want my money. And he would look at me and go, you know. So the guy won, and he knew it. And there was nothing I could do. I made the mistake of turning over too much money to a thug. And you can't morally appeal to a thug. They speak thug. So, and I can't take a baseball bat to him. I would never do something like that. I mean, that was it. So I said, and I was just telling John O'Donohue, I'm going crazy. And John looked at me. And he said, ooh, and he had this fabulous Irish brogue. Do you know who John O'Donohue was? That handsome, oh my God, was he good looking. And he said, he said, you're not ready to be in the presence of that kind of evil. Now, let's be real clear here. He was not talking about this man. He was talking about the darkness that had this man. Now, there are some people that are genuinely evil. This man wasn't. He was just possessed by a kind of a greed that came from a kind of a fear. And there's a difference. And you can see it when someone says this person has a spark of good. This guy had a spark of good in him. He wasn't evil to the core, like you would say, like a Hitler was evil to the core, or just, well, you know, there's just not any, this person's not redeemable, just trash him. He needs to be recycled. And some people need to be recycled. Hitler needed to be recycled. Don't tell me therapy would have helped Adolf Hitler. Don't go there. Don't go there, people. Some people need to be recycled. Give them to God. This man wasn't like that. He was just caught up in the psychic field of greed. But it feels dark, and that kind of darkness can pull you in, and the next thing you know, you're like a crazy person, because it engages you in your worst possible place, the place of your vanity. I need to win. I need to get through. I need to make him admit that he stole. Your righteousness versus his trickster.
And was that your queen, or what
No.
archetype is that for you?
The need to be right. It applies to any archetype. Put it there.
Yeah.
It's a characteristic. It could be, you know, I have a very strong judge. You know, the jury was out on this guy. I was right. I knew he did this. And you have to admit the truth. It was the truth. So John said to me, he's going to get you. That darkness will get you unless you pray. You have got to put, and he said this, a field of grace around you. Now, here's where we come to a very interesting debate that I would open the field to, and open the field and ask you to have a very open mind. And this brings in the discussion of the use of psychological medication, antidepressants, all kinds of things. Anything that takes the edge off you. Anything. Anything that takes the edge off your capacity to be sharp no matter what you're going through. No matter what. Anything that takes the edge off your capacity to think clearly, to be discerning. That, is evil an exteriorly independent dark force? And is it attracted to certain things? Now, is it attracted to unconscious human beings? Does it find its way like barnacles on a ship to unconscious human beings? Hold that as a pause button. And then let me introduce this. Why do all traditions have prayers of protection? Why? Judaism, Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, Islam, every single tradition has prayers of protection. Protect me. Not just prayers of protection in their life, in the day-to-day life, but in passing from this realm to when you cross over. The river Styx, as they say. Why? This doesn't come from frightened superstition, scary horriblenesses. It comes from a deep mystical knowledge that says there's ways we weaken ourselves that attract things to us, that become riders on us. Now I remember when I was in graduate school, I had one free class, what do you call that, elective. And that elective, I took a class on demonology. And the teacher was somebody who was at the time the exorcist for the Archdiocese of Chicago. He was like a star because he had been a consultant for a movie called The Exorcist. So he had, which you probably heard of, because so he was kind of like cool. So, and this was like a big deal class because we all thought it was so cool. Holy Christ. I am here to tell you, I have never left my books outside my house. By the second class, I wasn't bringing these books in the class. I left them in the garage. Wouldn't take them in the class. No, I would not bring them in the house. And so, there was a movie, Tony Hopkins just did it.
Right.
That's his story. That's his story. My teacher's story. That's an exaggerated version of that is his story. Okay. So he went from consulting on The Exorcist, and then that's his personal story. It's embellished, but that was his story, because then he went on to teach in Rome. So, so obviously discussions of evil came up in ways that I had never even considered, ever, okay? And he talked about the nature of the demon and the demonic. Now, are you comfortable with this?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure comfortable is the word, but curious.
Okay, curious. Here's the thing about this. You know, you talk about angels and you talk about cherubs. baby angels, babies. And then guardian. And then the hierarchy. And then the archangel. Anybody who says they can call these angels at will. I don't think so. Do you understand me? Angels don't come at your command. Michael, no. No, 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 no. No. Okay, that's enough. That's enough of me saying that. But like these kingdoms that go this way, the same is true of the dark kingdom. There's a Luciferian, satanic kind of force. And there's also a level of darkness that is, there's grand possession, where you actually call these forces through a satanic mass. And all of you have heard about that. Okay, so leave that alone. But what I'm talking about, in the minorist role, which I actually have come to believe is very common, much more common than we can possibly even imagine, is that I think that we are living, remember my illustration yesterday with the cross between two worlds, they overlap? That we are living at the most psychically vulnerable time in human history. And what defines this time is that we are, one, very psychically open, and two, we do not know enough to protect ourselves. To honor, we have no idea what that means to be intuitively, psychically open. We have no idea. We ask questions and we pursue our inner life as though we were living in a monastery without any monastic discipline or without any reverence for the sacred. We don't have time for that, but we want all the benefits of it. Let's be real clear. We want all the benefits of the sacred without having any reverence for the sacred or any practices of the sacred. What we use in lieu of it is acupuncture and vegetarianism, because that's convenient and it makes our waist look good. But we don't do anything that equals interior self-sacrifice or inner transformation or transition that actually calls us to task in the inner transformational journey that equates to what we are really asking of our inner life in terms of the level of insight that we are seeking spiritually. Am I making myself clear? And as a result, we think that the sufferings that we put ourselves through should be easily solved and resolvable. And the very fact that we tumble into the shadow world, we tumble into depression, we tumble into any kind of darkness, is so alarming to us. How could that happen? We have no endurance, and we have no idea that some pain is essential, necessary, and exactly what we should be going through as a way of developing the inner type of stamina we need. We need to become stronger people. We need to not betray ourselves. We need to get on with the next level of our lives. We need to make the next kinds of decisions. But the majority of people do not do that. They turn to psychiatry for medication. And they stop themselves right here. And they say, I'm not going any further. I'm not going any further. I'm out of pain and I must be doing something wrong because I'm in pain, and this isn't the way this nightclub act is supposed to go. Spirituality is supposed to make me happy. Where did that come from? This BS called The Secret and this nonsense that says somehow or other consciousness and the secret and this got equated as one and the same thing is a laugh. They have nothing to do with each other. One is a nightclub act, and the other is the deep spiritual, profound path of an inner awakening. And because I have gone into uncharted waters, and so many people have opened this inner door and said, you know, for what reason have I been born, and who am I? And they've pursued the mystical inner life without the right scaffolding. When certain natural processes of awakening begin, deepening the process of congruence, that it's time for you to get your head and your heart together. That is very earth-shattering for people. It's because you feel very alone. It could trigger your dark night. You could feel like, oh my God, I'm facing some life choices. I feel abandoned. I feel alone. It's at that point where someone should seek a spiritual director, not a therapist. It's at that point someone can become so frightened that they could tumble into serious addiction, and it's that point that some people can find themselves psychically vulnerable and may have a rider come in, a dark rider, that preys upon them not to do evil things, but to think badly of themselves, to think badly of their life. Because the dark side, it's not about doing dark things, but about thinking dark things. And they can't get out of their darkness. Part of why people don't get the dark side is they don't get the dark side. It's not about go twist your head around like what's her name in The Exorcist. It's about finding your weak zone and playing it like a song. You have a low opinion of yourself, you're going to have a lower one, and you won't get out from under it. Okay? So why do you pray? To put up that field of protection around yourself. Deliver me from that. Keep out of here. Keep me in grace. So the prayer, yeah, wait a minute. Wait a minute, how did I do that? The prayer like Teresa, hover over me, God. Keep me in grace. Because I am not strong enough to do this alone. Just acknowledge that. This isn't about you being from a Christian tradition, a Jewish, Hindu, Buddhist. I don't care about that. I don't teach anything about you following, because I told you, religion for me is a nightclub act. This is about you getting that you are a soul in a physical body on a sacred journey. And I take the truth, whatever tradition I find it from. Whatever one. Druid, Celtic, it doesn't matter. I love this. I'm afraid that if we begin to put our trust in human help, some of our divine help will fail us. Oh, Teresa, you just make me so laugh. So I'm going to end our day.